What is your assessment of President Putin's decision to amend Russia's nuclear doctrine? And does this increase the likelihood of a nuclear standoff?
Well, there was an audio issue on your end, so apologies that you couldn't hear me earlier. I'll
Yes,
answer your
yes,
first
I'm very
part
happy that you listened and you heard.
as well as the question about Putin. President Biden is using his time wisely because he very well understands and is aware of what will happen when former President Trump transitions into and is sworn in and inaugurated on January 20th as the next president. He has been very
Yes.
clear about that. He is extremely supportive of Putin and his efforts to continue to try to annex pieces of Ukraine as Russian territory. We all know that that's what's going to happen. President Biden, on the other hand, wants to
Why
thwart.
did President Biden decide 2 months before his presidency ends
I
this
was just answering that.
a very awkward decision to escalate and put oil on fire at this point? No one understands yet.
The reason why it's awkward is that he waited this long. It's not awkward, though, for the decision that he made, which is to try to help the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian military, as well as President Zelensky, before what I had just started to go into was a future of Donald Trump and his cozy relationship. That's a nice way of putting it. And that he's already said publicly that he believes that the end of the war would mean that Ukraine should give over its sovereignty and its territory to Russia. That is not what the United States in general, overall, especially the Biden administration, our allies, that's not what they want either. And that's absolutely not what the Ukrainian people want. So President Biden is using the tools that he has in the next 2 months to help the situation as much as he can.
He's worried about Ukraine.
Would not have waited as long as President Biden has done, but this is where we are, and he's trying to live up to the promise that he made to the Ukrainian people that he would do everything that he could in his power, and this is one of those executive actions that he's using that lever of power.
Mr. Markov, do you want to answer what Ms. Watkins said now?
Just want to stress the main thing which Mrs. Watkins tried to ignore. It's not Ukrainian attack, which we could see this early morning in Bryansk region. It's American attack. This is the threat. Of course, I don't think that Russian response will be very strong right now, because in Russia, we understand very well that one of the major goal of Joe Biden team is to create international crisis which will allow them not to give opportunity to Donald Trump to become real president. It's some kind of the coup. This attacking of American militaries by American rocket missiles to Russian territory has the goal of the coup d'etat in United States of America, blocking opportunity to change the power. This party of war, which head by Joe Biden, which is with maniac. He hate personally Vladimir Putin from 2011. If you want, I can explain.
Why, sir, do you think so? Why?
So?
Why do you think so?
Hello? Because in 2011, Joe Biden visited Moscow and asked Vladimir Putin not to run for the next presidential term. And after this, Vladimir Putin gave him a very strong response, not very diplomatic. And after this, Joe Biden personally hate Vladimir Putin. Also, another maniac in Biden administration is State Secretary Blinken, because his grandfather was in Kiev. He was Jewish, and he left Kiev because anti-Semitic pogroms. It was under the Tsar.
Mrs. Watkins, what are your comments on Mr. Markov?
Yeah.
All I'm hearing of this gentleman are headlines that he's read, that he's trying to connect the dots somehow to Joe Biden. The whole entire world knows what Vladimir Putin has done to the people of Ukraine, to the military, to the people and the families and children, and the thousands of people that have been slaughtered because of his Russian army that he sent in to take territory and take and eliminate the sovereignty of the Ukrainian people. Everybody knows that. You can say it's because of Joe Biden and 2011. That's not when this conflict started, and we all know it's been over 2 years, on the verge of now 3 years as we round this next year and go into 2025. So with all due respect, sir, this is not blaming Joe Biden for the war that Vladimir Putin started against Ukraine to try to take their sovereignty and their land and continue to annex, as he already tried to do in Georgia and Crimea, is just laughable.